Hello, wherever you are in the world. Before we get stuck into this week's adventure, I just want to say a big thank you, Webale, as we say here in Kampala, to everyone who's left a review, shared an episode or sent me a direct message. Last week I received a lovely note from Rachel. It's really wonderful to have you along for the ride. I so love hearing your feedback. Rachel Namara wrote, I just came back from a morning walk and guess what? I received a notification about your new episode. I guess I'm a loyal listener now. So here I am, listening in. Thank you for taking us on a beautiful adventure with you. In episode 30, we were on the beach together in Diani, Kenya, listening, being part of the excitement, watching baby turtles race into the Indian Ocean. I know the episodes that I record on location are particularly popular, but still, let me know either way what kind of content you enjoy. Rachel continued, good work, Charlotte. I'm really proud of you and everything you've accomplished. You're really taking this to the next level. It's amazing to see how much the podcast has grown. Well, I just had to share that with you because it really means a lot when people take time, not just to listen, which means a lot, of course, but to actually get in touch and give the feedback. Before we get into the who's, the whys and the whats, I'd just love to ask, are you following like Rachel? Please take a second to follow on Spotify or Apple and then you don't miss the next episodes. My name's Charlotte Beauvoisin. I'm the host of the East Africa Travel Podcast and author of Diary of a Mzungu blog. I write for international guidebooks and work with a long list of professional companies ready to organise the perfect tour or safari for you in East Africa. Today we start in Uganda, but we're officially en route to Kenya. We are now midway through Season 2, Episode 31. In this week's episode, we leave the hot, congested streets of Kampala for an audio diary as I travel by public transport to the Kenyan coast for a sustainable tourism conference. Our first stop is Jinja on the shores of Lake Victoria, a historic town right at the source of the Nile, the longest river in the world, over 4,000 miles long, 6,853 kilometres long, and widely known in tourism circles as the adrenaline capital of East Africa. Although it's famous for the Grade 5 world-class whitewater rafting, it's just as amazing as a spot where you unwind, watch the water, let it soothe you, let it calm you. So it's a very popular weekend destination for people living in Kampala in particular. I've spent many weekends there, but it is the perfect antidote to city life. In today's episode, we're going to enjoy a relaxed pace before waking up to a quiet morning beside the river as I map out the road ahead. From there, it's a race against the clock as we head east by road. We'll jump on an overnight bus, cross the border into Kenya. We journey past Lake Elementaita through the Rift Valley to Nairobi before catching the train down to Mombasa. Pull up a sun lounger next to the Nile as I sketch my cross-border travel plans and wait to see whether my Kenyan immigration docs are going to reach my inbox in time for me to get on the bus. Karibu. Welcome to the East Africa Travel Podcast.
Oh, but it's lovely. Well, it's only early. Good evening. It's around 7:30. I am in my, God knows what I call it. It's a super safari kind of tent in a dome shape. Almost like a yurt, someone was describing it as today. And just had a hot shower. I thought I'd discard the phone, get into bed with a book, and then I lay down. Not going to get much reading done with my eyes closed, am I? Anyway, big bed, floor to ceiling mosquito net. So it's beautiful, spacious, airy, bit loud. But actually it's really nice. There's a little beat of kind of modern bar music and then some church singing. A few insects. Listening to some parrots fly overhead this evening. So Jinja is 2 or 3 hours drive from Kampala. There are tons of activities to do here, whether whitewater rafting, kayaking, bungee jumping, quad biking, mini golf, sports fishing, sailing, horse riding, bird watching, of course, golf. There's a polo club. I walked down to the River Nile earlier today, made my way down this little side street, ended up in a hotel, very old-fashioned hotel, but the most incredible views of the old railway bridge. You could hear the water gushing underneath it from the lake, heading down to the Mediterranean. I could see the new Jinja bridge, the sun going down behind it. Oh, absolutely spectacular. So I feel revived already after 2 weeks in Kampala, where it's been really hot, and then the drive here, it was just a load of traffic. So yeah, I needed to feel water and to see water and just feel its proximity. So I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling really lazy. And I arranged to meet up with some friends, and I can't be bothered now. Anyway, I've got the weekend coming up, so I might just have a lazy night. Over the next couple of weeks, I am heading to the Indian Ocean, and I thought rather than go straight to Nairobi and then on to Mombasa, I will dawdle. I'm going to spend the weekend here with friends, and I'm going to be a tourist. It's a great town, so much history, and it's small, meaning it's very accessible. And then we are going to venture east together. We're going to be going by road. We're going to cross into Kenya. That's going to be a long bus journey, 10 hours or something. Going to be working a lot of the time. Diary of a Mzungu doesn't stop. I always have a notebook or two with me. Let me see. I have about 4 with me. I've got my personal notes, my work notes, my blogging, my podcasting notes. I'll be updating the blog with information on how to travel from Kampala to Nairobi. I get a lot of questions about that route, actually. Got to visit the Uganda Railway Museum while we're here in Jinja. Oh, I just get so excited when I think about trains. Oh, what a geek. That will be a nice starting point for our rail trip to Mombasa. We're going to be staying at the formidable Serena Mombasa Beach Resort and Spa. It has a Swahili theme. It's set on a white sandy beach. It is utterly gorgeous. And I've been lucky enough to stay there a few years ago, and they're hosting our conference. It's been a while since I've just got on the road without a plan, and I did wonder to myself this morning how it was all going to work out, because I was so involved in everything that I was doing in Kampala and couldn't even think about getting to Jinja. But as I got closer, I remembered all the people I want to see and the places I want to revisit. So now I'm here, I'm good to go. So tonight I'm staying at Jinja Backpackers. I'm really chuffed to be staying here because when I approached the owner Nash a couple of years ago about checking the place out, he said, "Oh no, we're not ready yet. We've only got a couple of rooms open." I was updating the guidebook at the time, Fodor's Complete Guide to the African Safari. Anyway, if I get to write on the next edition, I've actually stayed here now. I had the loveliest welcomes, and no one knew that I was going to come here and do a promotion. It was just organised with the owner when I got here. Big smile, as if they knew me, as if I was an old friend, and went into the kitchen area to order something to eat. Great big smile from the Mzee, which means an older man working in the kitchen. And he looked like he'd just seen me yesterday and we were picking up our conversation. And so, yeah, very relaxing here. I often joke that I go away from home for 3 days and I go back after 3 weeks. And that's because we are very spontaneous here in East Africa. We do plan things, but you can't beat the spontaneity of somebody saying, "Ah, I didn't know you were going to be in Jinja this weekend. Why didn't you come over and check this out?" Good morning. Oh, what a fantastic night's sleep. That was absolutely the right decision to have an early night last night, and despite it being a bit noisy earlier with the church and the bar, actually it was very quiet by 11 o'clock. My tent is big and spacious, and there's an ensuite bathroom which is made out of wood, and it's a nice wide stone floor, and I love the way they've made the basin. Big old scraps of wood
that has a metal basin sort of plonked into it, carved out of a hole in the wood. Yes, very rustic, but beautifully done. And the mattress is super comfy. Oh, and it's very quiet, isn't it? So I think that's the good thing about staying in a place where everyone gets up early to do activities, is you can have a lie in. Everyone's out now for the morning. They'll be back later, full of beans and excited stories about flipping rafts in the Nile. I can hear a small plane flying overhead. There's an airstrip 1 or 2 kilometres from here. The main road to Kampala isn't too far away, and there's a very slight buzz of traffic in the distance, but it is a major road. It connects Mombasa and the Indian Ocean, goes all the way through Kenya to Kampala, Uganda's capital, and then right the way through to Rwanda and Burundi and so on. I really feel that I'm at the centre of things here. I've got a full day of activities planned. I'm going to walk around the town on foot. I'm going to get a nice coffee. Got to be a double cappuccino. At some point I'm going to visit the Uganda Railway Museum at Jinja railway station. I've got to go down to the river, of course, and I think we might go and visit source of the Nile. Oh, they've got some turkeys here. A couple of turkeys wandering around and a goat. Anyway, time for me to get a coffee. Just drinking first coffee of the day, looking over the River Nile, watching red-tailed monkey skip through the trees, scarlet-breasted sunbirds chasing each other. They're a medium-sized black sunbird, a bright red daub of paint on their breast. So I've just seen flashes of black and red as they've chased each other through the shrubs. We have eastern grey plantain eaters flying overhead, very noisy birds, but I think I might have disturbed them coming to sit at this wooden bench. And I can see a bit of heat coming off the embers of last night's campfire. It's a beautiful day. It's a bit hazy. It's blue sky. It's around 8 in the morning. I decided not to get up too early today because I have an overnight bus ride tonight. So 7 o'clock I will be on the bus heading to Nairobi. I thought by coming to Jinja I would cut 2 hours off that journey, but I spoke to somebody yesterday who took 14 hours to get from Jinja to Nairobi. I'm slightly on tenterhooks this morning because I completely forgot about applying for my e-visa to enter Kenya. I don't think I did it till Friday, which is a stupid day to apply for things when the offices have been shut for 2 days. Anyway, let's see if it comes through in time. I am on a bit of a deadline now. The Kenya visa system is a bit confusing because they made a big noise about becoming visa-free destination, which is the trend in Africa. Visa-free for Africans and visa-free for internationals in some countries. But then at the same time they introduced this digital tax that you have to pay instead. Oh God, big load of flies just come out of nowhere. Ugh. They're not mosquitoes, I hope. I'll soon find out, won't I? Well, that's good. Just checked my email. 9 o'clock Monday morning, and visa's been approved. Republic of Kenya ETA application approved. President Ruto's message to humanity. Tobongo Lore. Welcome home. Please ensure you have your Republic of Kenya ETA and passport with you at all times whilst travelling to Kenya. ETA means electronic travel approval, I think. Ooh, I can get excited now. That's great. I can make a couple of bookings. I can book my bus. I can book my SGR ticket. I can book somewhere to stay overnight in Nairobi. I think I need to do the same in Mombasa. I would actually have got the bus and then immediately got on the train. I love Nairobi, but just to stop there for a few hours seems a bit complicated and also a bit of a tease because there's a long list of people I'd love to see there. Oh, the power of WhatsApp. So I'm booking my bus using WhatsApp and then talking to a tour operator based in Jinja, and
Wilson, who works at River Road bus station in Nairobi. I've got a blog post about this bus doing the Kampala-Nairobi route. I've got 150,000 views on that blog post. I get a lot of inquiries about it. So he might give me a free ticket. He has before. I've recommended him to a lot of people. Okay, right, I'm being asked for my name, nationality and passport number. So let me get on and do that. We're moving. I just checked on Wilson. I hoped I could see him in Nairobi just to say hello. And he said, yeah, clients contact me and say they've been referred from Diary of a Mzungu. That's nice, because I always say to people, please mention me if you contact any businesses, but you never know whether people do or not.
In terms of how long it took me to get from Kampala, capital of Uganda, to the coast, I would say it took me about 24 hours if I was to have compressed the journey and tried to have done it as quickly as possible. But I broke it up with 2 nights in Jinja, and I also had a break in Mombasa, Old Town, before I actually went to my final destination, which was up the coast at Shanzu Beach in Mombasa. Honestly, it's actually easier to get a bus from Kampala to Nairobi and not stop over in Jinja, because the cross-border buses only run at night for some reason. And actually some people, you can see they're in their work clothes. I've seen people get on the bus at Kampala and they've got lots of layers on because they sleep the whole way. And then when we arrive at River Road in Nairobi, they take off a layer and you realise they're dressed for work. They're going straight into the office. That's a hell of a commute, isn't it? So let me tell you a little bit about Jinja since we're there for the weekend. I've written extensively about Jinja over the years and spent many long weekends there. I've visited a number of lodges, including the fabulous Lamala Wild Waters Lodge, which is set in the middle of the Nile on some big boulders. I've spent a lot of time at the Haven Eco River Lodge on the northern bank of the River Nile. I've spent many weekends at Nile River Explorers Camp. I've been rafting, I've been tandem kayaking, I've been quad biking, I've been bird watching. I haven't been horse riding yet along the Nile, but that's something I really must do. There are 2 bungee jumps, there's one either side of the River Nile. I like Jinja for the little coffee shops and the craft market. Of course you can buy crafts at different places around Uganda, but Jinja is a slow, small town. It's a nice relaxed vibe, so you don't feel under pressure to buy anything if you do want to do a little bit of craft shopping. Jinja's an interesting mix of old and new. The most interesting architecture is often hidden from view because there are lots of modern signs covering these old buildings, but look carefully and you can see the names of the families that built the constructions around the start of the 20th century. Lots of Asian names. Well, we could do a whole podcast episode about the history of the Asians developing and investing in Jinja in particular, and who then later got expelled in 1972 by Idi Amin. It's a very sad story, and that can still be told through the buildings, many of which are derelict, which have remained unclaimed by the families of the fleeing Asians. A few of the things that Jinja is famous for: there are a series of dams across the River Nile that generate electricity for Uganda and Kenya. By the way, don't take photos of the infrastructure such as bridges, you could get in trouble. If you visit the source of the Nile Gardens, you can take a boat ride to see the source. There's not a huge amount to see, but you might see a few bubbles coming up through the water. There's a big construction project going on there at the moment, and there will soon be a viewing platform and visitor centre. There's a monument dedicated to Mahatma Gandhi. Some of his ashes were scattered in the Nile for peace to flow along its length, which is a lovely sentiment. Jinja has Hindu temples, reminding us of the thriving Asian community that developed the town. If you do visit Jinja, I highly recommend a walking tour. You can even do a tour by bike. Because most of the town is flat, it makes it very accessible, and it's laid out in a uniform kind of pattern, making it quite easy to make your way around. I find Jinja very intriguing. There are some big old trees next to the river. There is a thriving modern section as well. There's a new market. There is a royal palace. If you love beer, you can even visit Nile Brewery. I'm so glad I had a bit of rest before I started my mammoth journey. It's always easier on the way there though, isn't it? I was full of beans, very excited to be travelling solo, making my own plans, making my own travel arrangements, and had an end goal in sight, the Sustainable Tourism Conference at the wonderful Mombasa Serena. In terms of where I stayed, so I called in a few favours from friends. If you'd like more detailed advice on any of the places that I stayed at or other suggestions, don't hesitate to get in contact. I stayed in a wide variety of accommodation. I stayed in a dome-shaped tent, a backpacker's dormitory, a cottage, a shipping container, and finally a 5-star hotel. There's a lot to be said for each type of accommodation, and we all have different travelling styles, we all have different budgets. Whatever you're looking for, ask me. If I haven't stayed in one of those places myself, I know someone who has and give you the inside info. I should have called this episode Planes, Trains and Automobiles. I took every type of transport possible. Car, bus, train, Uber, boda, motorbike, ferry, and even a tuk-tuk, one of those funny little 3-wheelers. The border. When you cross from Uganda into Kenya, if you go by Busia, they have what they call a one-stop shop. But I found it a bit confusing. You still have to exit one country in order to go in another. And the little signs above the windows are really tiny, so it took a little bit more studying than I anticipated to get through there. And if you arrive when there's other buses, you can actually stand there in a line for an hour. I've got shouted at more than once for standing in the wrong line or not getting the right stamp, because these two queues looked exactly the same to me, and so I'd exited one country and entered another without getting the first stamp. Immigration can be a bit of a headache. The Kenya's electronic travel authorization is a very simple process. I think it took me about 12 minutes from start to finish to fill it in online. I was very lucky that I applied on Friday afternoon and then it came into my inbox first thing on Monday morning. You can't always be that lucky, so please give yourself a couple of weeks. Don't leave it to the last minute like I did accidentally. If you're travelling by bus, a couple of things to note. Always take your valuables with you when you get off the bus. That applies whether you're going for a short call, toilet break, or you're actually getting off to go through customs at the border. I've done this journey many times without incident, although on the last journey, one of the staff would have left my bag behind at the scanner. He rushed me onto the bus is leaving, where's my bag? It's on the bus, he said. I didn't believe him, I don't know why. Went back to the scanner and there was my little green bag sitting on the floor. Everyone else's bag had been taken. When you're travelling across the land borders from Uganda into Kenya or Rwanda, there are some very basic facilities at the border. There are toilets and a very small cafe cum shop, but it has a very limited amount of supplies. So always good to travel with your own hand sanitizer, a little bit of loose change to pay for toilets, and of course you can get water and little snacks like samosas and so on as well. And you'll find just before or after the border posts there are stands where you can buy something simple to eat like a chapati or a soda, a fizzy drink or something. Of course you don't drink much when you're on the buses because you don't know when they're going to stop. They stop very infrequently, these cross-border buses. It's all well organised, and a couple of minutes before you get to the border, the lights will go on, everybody will wake up, everyone has to get off the bus. If in doubt, make sure you have your yellow fever certificate with you. For the last few years, it's been mandatory to show your yellow fever certificate when you are applying online for a visa in East Africa. Travel health information does change. It is something that I study regularly. I work with a travel health specialist. I'm also very active on some WhatsApp groups in Uganda that monitor travel health info. And so if you're in doubt, please just send me a quick message. But if you have a yellow fever certificate, make sure you always carry it with you. Have a photograph of it on your phone. Make sure your phone has a bit of charge. Some of these buses do have power sockets, but they don't always work. So carry a battery pack. I mean, you can go old school. You can also bring a photocopy of your important documents. If you're travelling within East Africa, it's really useful if you have a local SIM card. Not only does it mean that you can call people and so on, but you can actually load money on your phone. It's very secure. It's an amazing way to pay for all kinds of goods and services. It's very easy to set up. As long as your phone is working, you can pay for your tickets, like your bus tickets, in advance. And it means you don't have to go to ATMs. You don't have to carry much cash with you. Visa and MasterCard are less widely used than they are in other parts of the world. So having a local SIM card is particularly useful. It all depends how you travel, because if you're on a pre-planned itinerary, you're not going to have to carry a lot of money with you because most things will have been paid for in advance. But of course, you want money for tips and souvenirs and drinks and that kind of thing. It's been such a treat to spend a couple of days next to the river, to cool down after the last few weeks in Kampala and to prepare mentally for the next couple of days of non-stop travel and then a very busy sustainable tourism conference. Make sure to tune in to next week's episode. Put your notifications on to hear how the next leg of my journey unfolds as we cross the border into Kenya. We'll be on location in Shanzu Beach in Mombasa. Incredibly beautiful stretch of white sand beach coast. You've been listening to the East Africa Travel Podcast with me, Charlotte Beauvoisin, author of Diary of a Mzungu. Until next time, Safari and Jema. Safe travels. Thanks for listening.